A few days ago, while browsing through X, I came across this nice over interaction shared by JP Silva that caught my interest. After looking through more of his work, it was clear that he is doing some very solid stuff with Webflow, and this over effect in particular felt thoughtfully put together. As you hover over the card, the image gradually fills in with these playful SVG strokes, and at the same time, the title gets revealed. What stood out to me was how polished it feels and how the SVG strokes aren't just decorative, they are actually driving the reveal. Since we have been spending some time on the channel exploring SVG based ideas, I thought this would be a great interaction to explore and look at how an effect like this could be built from scratch. So over the weekend, I spent a couple of hours trying to build my own version of this effect using basic HTML and CSS, a bit of JavaScript, and GSAP to handle the SVGs and animation timing. His execution is definitely more refined, but rebuilding a version of it was a great way to study the technique behind the interaction. In this video, I'll walk you through the entire process step by step and show you how you can create cool SVG powered effects like this for your own projects. If you find my work helpful, make sure you leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And if you'd like to access the source code for this project, along with hundreds of other similar micro projects and a brand new website template every month, you can check out the Pro membership via the link in the description. Alright, let's jump into the code. Before getting into the code, let's take a quick look at the assets we'll need. Aside from a few placeholder images for the cards, the main focus is really on the SVG strokes. You can create these in any vector tool you are comfortable with. I used Figma and sketched out two loose stroke shapes using the pen tool. Basically, these are just abstract paths that we'll animate later. The process is very quick and shouldn't take more than a few minutes. You don't need to overthink it, and you definitely don't need perfect shapes. Once the animation logic is in place, you can always come back and adjust the paths, stroke widths, or overall feel based on the visual result you are after. That's essentially it for the assets. When we move into the HTML section, I'll paste the raw SVG markup directly into the layout. I am showing these here first so you have some context for where those SVG paths come from when we start firing things up. Alright, let's move on to the HTML. At the very top of the page, I'll add a header element and place an h1 inside it with some placeholder text. This isn't part of the hover effect itself, it's just there to frame the layout and give the page a clear starting point. Right after that, I'll add a footer. This will also contain a simple h1 with some dummy copy. Again, the header and footer aren't required for this animation, but adding them helps place the cards in a more realistic page context instead of isolating the interaction. Now we can move on to the actual cards. To keep things simple, I'll structure them using rows. I'll create a div with the class name row, and each row will hold two cards side by side. Before duplicating anything, let's define the markup for a single card first. Once this structure is in place, we can reuse it to build out the rest of the grid. Inside the row, I'll add a div with the class name card container. I'll also give it a unique ID. Later on, we'll use these IDs to assign different stroke colors to each card depending on the image. Inside the card container, the first layer is a div with the class name card image. Inside that, I'll drop an image element. This image acts as the base of the card. It's always visible and the SVG strokes will animate over it. Next, I'll add two additional layers for the SVG strokes. Both will use class name SVG stroke along with an extra class on each one so we can target them individually in the CSS. This makes it easier to apply different colors and styles to each stroke layer later on. Inside each of these stroke containers, I'll paste the SVG markup directly from Figma. There is no cleanup or modification needed here. You can simply select the path in Figma, copy it as SVG, and paste it straight into the HTML. These paths are what will animate to create the stroke drawing effect on hover. After that, I'll add one final element inside the card, a div with the class name card title. Inside it, I'll place an h3 with the card's title. This text will be animated later, so for now, we are just setting up the structure. With that done, the card layout is complete. I'll duplicate this entire card container once so that each row contains two cards. Then I'll copy the entire row and paste it two more times. That gives us 3 rows total with 6 cards overall. Finally, I'll quickly swap out the IDs, image sources, and title text so each card has its own content. That's all we need for the HTML. With this structure in place, we can move on to styling. First, I'll import the Google Sans font from Google Fonts. This is going to be the main typeface used across the entire layout. Next, I'll define a few CSS variables at the root selector. These variables are mainly for the stroke colors used by each card. Each card gets its own stroke color along with a shared base stroke color and a variable for the text color. After that, I'll apply a global reset. I'm removing default margins and paddings and setting box sizing to border box so sizing stays predictable across all elements. Then I'll style the body. Here, I'm simply applying Google Sans as the main font family for the page. Next, I'll define typography styles. For the main headings, I'm using a responsive font size so they scale naturally across screen sizes. For the card titles, I'll do something similar but slightly toned down compared to the main heading so there is a clear hierarchy. After that, I'll set some shared styles for images and SVGs. Both are set to fully fill their containers and the content is cropped proportionally so nothing stretches or distorts. Next, I'll style the header and footer together. Both spans the full width of the page and use flexbox to center their content both vertically and horizontally. This keeps the layout simple and symmetrical at the top and bottom of the page. Now we move on to the rows. Each row takes up the full width, has some horizontal padding and uses flexbox to place the cards side by side with a gap between them. There is also some spacing below each row to separate it from the next one. Next comes the card container itself. Each card is positioned relative, so we can absolutely position elements inside it later. The card is set up as a square with rounded corners and hidden overflow. The overflow rule is important. It ensures that anything animating inside the card stays clipped within its boundaries. Now I'll style the SVG stroke layers. Each stroke layer is positioned absolutely in the center of the card. I'm translating it back by half its size so it's perfectly centered and scaling it up slightly so the stroke fully covers the image area when it animates. Next, I'll apply the stroke colors. Using the unique IDs we added earlier, I'll target each card individually and assign a different stroke color to the first SVG layer. This is where those root level color variables come into play. For the second SVG layer, I'll apply shared base stroke color. This gives us a consistent secondary stroke across all cards. Now I'll position the card title. The title is placed near the bottom of the card and offset slightly from the left edge. It's absolutely positioned so it sits on top of the image and SVG layers. I will also add a small performance hint to the individual words inside the title. This lets the browser know that these elements are going to be animated, which helps keep things smooth during hover interactions. Finally, I will add a responsive adjustment. When the screen size drops below a certain point, the row layout switches from horizontal to vertical, so the cards stack instead of sitting side by side. At the same time, the card title shifts slightly inward, so it stays visually balanced on smaller screens. And that takes care of the styling. Now that everything is visually set up, we can move on to the JavaScript and start firing up the interactions. First, I'll import the libraries we need. I'm importing GSAP as the main animation engine, then the split text plugin from GSAP, which we'll use to animate the card titles word by word, and finally Lenis, which we'll use to smooth out scrolling across the page. Next, I'll register the split text plugin with GSAP. This step is required so GSAP knows about the plugin before we try to use it anywhere in the code. After that, I'll set up Lenis. Here, I'm pasting a small block of code directly from the Lenis documentation. What this does is initialize Lenis and hook it into browser's animation loop. In short, this setup lets Lenis take control of scrolling and keep everything feeling smooth and consistent. Once that's in place, we can move on to the actual interaction logic. I'll grab all of the card containers from the DOM. This gives us a collection of every card on the page, which will loop over and animate individually. Next, I'll loop through each card using a for each method. This way, everything we do inside this block applies to one card at a time, keeping the logic nicely scoped and reusable. Inside this loop, the first thing I'll do is grab two things from the current card. First, I'll select all the SVG paths inside the stroke layers. These paths are what will animate to create the drawing effect on hover. Then, I'll select the card title, specifically the heading element inside the title container. This is the text will animate into view when the hover interaction starts. Next, I'll split the card title into words using split text. Here, I'm telling split text to break the heading into individual words, and I'm also enabling masking so each word can slide in cleanly without affecting the layout around it. Once the text is split, I'll right away set an initial state for those words. All the words are pushed downward, completely out of view. This way, when we animate them later, they'll slide upward into place instead of popping in. After that, I'll prepare the SVG paths for animation. For each path, I'll calculate its total length. Then I apply that value to both the dash array and the dash offset. What this does is hide the stroke completely along its own length. So even though the path exists in the DOM, it's not visible yet. This setup is what allows us to animate the stroke later by gradually reducing the dash offset, creating the illusion that the stroke is being drawn across the image. At this point, everything is prepared. In the next step, we'll start building the hover timelines that bring all of this to life. First, I'll declare a variable called timeline. This is going to hold our GSAP timeline. We are defining it outside the event handlers so we can control and reset it cleanly when the user moves the mouse in and out. Next, I'll add a mouse enter event listener to the card container. This is where the hover animation begins. Inside this event, the first thing I do is check if a timeline already exists. If it does, I kill it right away. This is important because users can move their mouse quickly and we don't want multiple timelines checking or fighting each other. Once the old timeline is cleared, I create a fresh GSAP timeline. From here on, everything we add will be perfectly synchronized. Now we animate the SVG strokes. I loop over each SVG path inside the card and add an animation to the timeline. Remember earlier, we hid each path by setting its dash offset to match its full length. Here, we animate that dash offset back to 0. As this value decreases, more of the stroke becomes visible, which creates the effect of the line being drawn across the image. At the same time, I also animate the stroke width. The stroke starts thinner and becomes much thicker during the hover. This increase in thickness is what makes the stroke feel like it's filling the image rather than just sitting on top as a thin line. Both of these animations start at the same point in the timeline. That way, all stroke paths animate together and feel like a single gesture instead of separate elements. Once the stroke animation is underway, we bring in the title text. I animate the split words back into view by moving them vertically into place because each word was hidden below earlier. This motion feels like the text is being revealed by the stroke animation. I also stagger the words slightly. This keeps the motion fluid and readable instead of everything snapping in at once. That completes the hover in animation. Now we handle what happens when the mouse leaves the card. I add a mouse leave event listener on the same container. Just like before, the first thing I do is kill any existing timeline and create a new one. We then reverse the stroke animation. For each SVG path, I calculate its total length again and animate the dash offset back to that value. This effectively hides the stroke by pushing it back along its own path. At the same time, I reduce the stroke width back down. This makes the stroke feel like it's collapsing and retreating instead of just disappearing. All of these animations start together, so the stroke clears the image in one smooth motion. Finally, I animate the title text out. The words slide back down out of view, but this time I stagger them from the end. And with that, the hover interaction is complete. We are using the same setup for every card, but because everything is scoped per container, each card behaves independently. That's the full hover logic for this effect. Hope you found the video helpful. See you in the next one.